what I wanted to ask you was, you said that you're doing this research, and an interesting thing is why the Pakistani community or the Kashmiri community were ahead and the Bangladeshi community were behind in educational terms, in socio-economic terms, and that's changed. And I know you're going to try and find out why, but have you any ideas first before you look at your conclusions to your study?
Well, the hypothesis from this study is because the community is recognised and targeted for employment and initiatives around educational attainment. So whereas across the blanket Pakistani group, you won't target, there isn't a specific targeting going on. So in a sense, what we're saying, though we will show it, maybe we'll show it, maybe we won't, is we're saying that the Kashmiri population actually is the group that hasn't attained, if you like. Sophie's example is so good when she said, if you look at Russell Group universities, you don't see Kashmiri children. You see Pakistani kids going to those universities. You don't see Kashmiri kids. And my daughter goes to grammar school in Birmingham. And Birmingham has got the largest Pakistani population in Britain, and we think the largest Kashmiri. And in her school, in a year of 120 girls, there are no girls from a Kashmiri heritage background. Of 120 girls going to this, and the grammar school is one of the best schools in the country, but there are 70% of the girls are sort of Asian, if you like, or non-white, but no girls are from. And I find it I find it completely shocking that actually in Birmingham, where I think it's 70,000, there's more people from Dadial there than in Dadial, I think. Yeah. So, but we can't substantiate this. We don't have any evidence to. So, and then and if you're going to target a population as a whole, you don't then get to target them more, Whereas whereas with Bangladeshi heritage, at least in the northwest, there has been a lot of targeted initiatives, employment, education, attainment, and it's kind of worked, if you see what I'm saying. So that's the hypothesis. Though, hopefully we are going to show evidence for it. Martin isn't here, who's our statistician, who would sort of give you more of that. But the next event we will do, we are going to present the statistics that we've got, basically. That will be hopefully in September sometime.
But the fact that they're not being recognised, is it because they're not being given the option of ticking Kashmiri on the forms or having their identity recognised? The closest thing that they can identify to is Pakistani, so that's the only thing that they're ticking. Could that be one of the reasons why?
That is one of the reasons. So with the census, it's like if you can tick in, I think it's 10 times more likely to tick rather than to write. Yeah, so there is that. Yeah, it is the option. And also, in a sense, for us, whether you tick or you don't tick, what I think we're going to find is that the community isn't, again, what Sophie said was really poignant for me. Actually, it was really poignant for me. But actually, the community isn't doing well. It's like you guys could tell me, I'm sure that that there is this continuity of these cycles of deprivation, we call them. But
You were talking about night economy and deprivation. You seem to have equated the night economy with the Asian or the Kashmiris with deprivation, but you didn't elaborate what is the connection between night economy and deprivation.
Yeah, well, just in terms of, does a solicitor earn more than a taxi driver in Oldham? That's what I meant by just in terms of what your socio-economic, how much you can earn, just your your socio-economic. The ending of tax credits is going to hit taxi drivers in Oldham and Manchester, this area, very hard, isn't it? Because they are, it's a low income. Even if you don't show too much of your income, I've interviewed enough taxi drivers to know that it's not, they don't earn as much as you or me, let's say. So that's what I mean in terms of, and by deprivation already I mean cycles. That a taxi driver's son becomes a taxi driver, rather than being able, like in a previous generation, they may have got out of that cycle, if you see what I'm saying. So that's what I was more hinting at.
And I've tried to think about it, and I'm not too sure what it is. It's not an urban mean, if you look at rural people, I mean, I'm talking about Sikh people who came from India, they were rural people. And their trajectory and sort of the Kashmiri trajectory, you know, is parallel almost now. And same thing with the Punjabi community from Pakistan. I mean, they're not far off the Indian community in terms of success, but there's something specific about the Kashmiri community, which means that their trajectory has almost declined rather than sort of gone upwards. And, you know, it'll be interesting to really know what it is that sets it apart in terms of socio-economic.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I think
you guys know. You know. I think you guys should know more than.
I think there is a real difference in culture. I mean, there's rural, but I think the Kashmiri community was extra rural. It's super rural. It's semi-mountainous. Yeah, sorry. I mean, these people are even more so.
No, these are just.
I mean, the country people are. You know, these people are.
They're up in the mountains.
There's probably goats around our area that are more. But I think that there is a super rural, and just hinting on the earlier issue about prejudice. I mean, it is not a class issue towards me, but it's a prejudice issue. And the real way to, if you really want to say actually, I mean, the real argument against Kashmiris or Mupiris is the fact that there's a backwardness there. And that's a real argument which actually places them to say that actually we're superior. That's their argument. I'm not saying it's true. The real way to actually move forward is to actually socio-economically be successful in this country. There's a lot to be said about what's going on back there. And I think there's a lot of issues about actually cousin marriages back over there. We have a bunch of people sort of now being brought up in Liverpool who don't bother going to do an education because, you know, we're going to England. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and there are those issues around families with, say, someone who's come from there and someone's born. But again, if you know that's going on, then you can try and provide some kind of support to that situation, can't you? In a way, I think that there's also, I know what you're saying, that there's also internal issues to the community, but every community's got internal issues in some senses, haven't they? You know, everyone has got something going on, but it's how does it get tackled in the public? And for me, actually, in the last 10 years, it's also because of the government agenda. You know, that it's like, well, you know, it's all Muslims are the same, and they're all just about to blow themselves up, and so we need to. Do you know what I mean? We need to. This is what we need to do. You know, we need to tackle that and everything else. And how do you tackle that? You know, you get a Maulvi like Dalit to come along and teach you to be good Muslims. I mean, that's the problem with the policy, right?
A good British Muslim.
A good British Muslim. And like, it doesn't, you know, that has been the problem. That no one wants to look at the fact that actually communities are poor and they're staying poor.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can really feed into the religious extremism by actually saying that the more socio-economically successful people are actually less prone to extremism. To a certain extent. I mean, we know the middle class. The middle class is quite prone to extremism to that extent. But I mean,
I think that
except for Osama bin Laden, of course, he was a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. But
I think the prejudice thing is the important thing, because actually you do find ones who are prone to extremism are the ones who go to university. Yeah. But when you go there, you don't feel that you belong. And then you start going on to a downward spiral. Yeah, and we know that. That's what the research shows. But actually, it's people who don't feel they fit. It's not your attack. It's not the people who do, because you're too busy paying the bills, right, to be worried about. You know, it's the people who don't feel they fit who get really pro. But again, that is about prejudice. You know. Like,